got the feeling we're overrun. Sending boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging neck, bring extra rounds. Hang in now, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them all to heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slit the doors of what you gonna do? And happy Sunday to you folks. Welcome to another edition of the Double S Podcast. Hey, before we get going here, got an awesome show for you. But if you're wondering why I'm not saying hi, why we're not responding, it's because this is a recorded episode. It's not that I'm ignoring you. Well, some of you I might ignore. Not everybody, I promise you there. No, man, we're doing recorded. It's the holiday season right now, so we're getting a couple of these episodes in. People have busy schedules, so when I have an opportunity to get a hold of a guest like our guest tonight, we take that chance and we get it recorded there because they're busy. They got families, they got careers, things going on. So yeah, we're super excited about this, but we are not live tonight. This is recorded. Dude, I hope that by the time you're watching this here, you got through the silly season, you got through the holiday season, and in that you had a chance to keep that spirit, get involved in it in some fashion way or another. Sometimes this can be a rough time of year for our brothers and sisters out there, so I want to make sure, do those buddy checks, man. Want to do our part to throw that out there, you know. Reach out, text, phone call, whatever it is. Grab some coffee, have some lunch, stop in, say, hey, go have a beer, whatever it is. Just check in on people out there. If we all do this together, man, we can make sure that that everybody's doing all right, because it can be a tricky time of year, man, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's one of those challenges we have out there, and that's why we have that bond together. Let me get, where did that go? There it is. That's why we have the opportunity to work with each other and make sure that we can get through this stuff here, because you are appreciated, you are loved by someone out there. You got family and friends, and that's important, man. All right, let's pay the bills real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and get right to our guest here. Let me see if I remember what I'm doing here. Every episode of the Double S Podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. Hashtag helping is healing. Go check them out at romanswarriorfoundation.org. Alternative methods of healing, speaking of that, for our brothers and sisters around the nation, shore to shore, East Coast, West Coast. Romans Warrior Foundation's got a program or a division doing some amazing stuff out there. This is the Brian Romans, the United States Marine Corps vet, is the whole reason I got involved in nonprofit work. He has been a guiding force for me, and every time, whether I realize it or not, if I need that kick in the butt or that pick me back up, keep moving again, he's always been there. He does that for any and everybody he meets across this country. Romans Warrior Foundation with the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance, with the Field Ops Division, the Stop 22 Tour, you name it, man. The GWAT Memorial needs support. It needs more stops on the list there. If you want to take an event that you have in your local neck of the woods and take it to a next level and bring in some true healing into that community, into a community, get a hold of Romans Warrior Foundation and get that traveling memorial brought into your community there. You can get that set up. It's an amazing memorial to see, and it's your memorial. It's our generation's, pretty much our Vietnam, man, and it's the only traveling memorial in the United States right now that covers the entire GWAT era that is mobile. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Of course, our little nonprofit, True Patriot Outfitters, doing our part to improve general mental health, well-being, and restore mission and purpose by getting outdoors, right? We create a network, create a communication network there together, and we use the outdoors, man. Let it do the heavy lifting. We're going fishing, kayak fishing and camping trips. That's what we're doing here. And we're taking it basically, two kayaks at a time. That's exactly how we're getting it done. Of course, none of this is possible without Adam Bird and all the great podcasts on the Heroes Media Group. Go check out. There's something for everybody, man. Resources galore at the Heroes Media Group. Some of the best podcasts you're going to find out there. Something for everybody, just pretty much almost every night of the week. So go check them out. there. And of course, the sister company, get you some of that Kickstart Coffee HMG beverage. Whew. Okay, all done. Bills are paid. Now, we're bringing in this dude here, and I can't wait. I met this gentleman on Tip of the Spear. You guys see that? We throw that when we get a chance to jump in there with those amazing human beings. We throw that up on our Facebook and then let people see when we sit around. It's an awesome, awesome round table. It's primarily it's all veterans involved in there, and they let this lug nut, the token civvy, come in there as we run a podcast in the same space. And so we're always honored to join that group. And I met this gentleman in there and then started realizing this dude's got talent like pouring out his earballs. So we're going to bring him in here and we're going to have a chat with him. We're going to get to know this guy. Let's go ahead and bring into the show right now Mr. Th30ry himself. Boom, there you are. What's happening, man?
Up? What's going on?
You know,
How you doing?
Just recording another show. Hey, folks, remember, we're not live. That's why he's not saying it. Hey, everybody out there.
Hey, everybody out there.
Exactly.
There's my one hello to everybody. I hope
That's
everybody's
right.
doing good and having a good holiday season.
That's right. You know, and folks, make sure, leave questions, leave comments, leave that stuff in here. I'll make sure that Th30ry sees that. I'll forward that stuff on to him because I check that stuff and I watch it close. So if there's any specific questions, and you're going to see all his social stuff here tonight. We've got all that up here. So you need to go follow him, tag along on that journey out there because there's some great content out there for sure. So
Thank you.
Cool, man. So let's get into it. You are a United States Marine, sir.
Yes, I am.
Dude, I was telling you, about the Romans Warrior Foundation. There's something that's happened in my journey in nonprofit, and that is I am a Marine magnet. Everywhere I go, I find you guys. You're in, it's like the few, the proud, right? It's like you're the least numbered dudes out there. But I'll tell you this, in the space of serving, I run into more Marines than anything out there.
Yep. It's a crazy thing. It happens to me a lot too. Like I'll be out and about somewhere and, somebody will recognize like I don't know, just the way I carry myself. I've even been noticed like that. And they're just like, you served in the Marine Corps, didn't you? And I'm just like, how do you know that? Like, yeah, what gave it away? And it's usually the way I carry myself, the way I speak, the mannerisms, things like that, little slang terms that kind of get, etched in your brain that unfortunately never leave. Yeah, they'll sneak out, and you'll look at yourself in the mirror when you get home and be like, "What the? Did I really say that?"
Is knife hands, is that Marine or is that Army or is that kind of universal, right? When you're talking which one is that?
I mean, I don't know. Oh, I never served in any other branch, but I know that the Marine Corps takes knife hands very seriously. So
right.
I've been physically hurt with knife hands. So.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Not that you got hurt, but that you got a story about knife hands. That's awesome.
It's awesome that I got hurt too. It's really fucking surprising, but it's a true story.
Depending on
times actually.
What those knife hands are attached to. That's can get dangerous.
It's definitely who's carrying the knife hands for sure.
Good stuff. When did you serve?
2010 to 2015. I enlisted in 2010. So funny story. I actually went to. So when I graduated high school in 2006, and my buddy who I knew since fourth grade, his name's Daniel Grisius. He was a good friend of mine all through grade school, all through high school. And right after high school, he had actually enlisted in the Navy. And he gave my information to his Navy recruiter without telling me, which I didn't care, whatever. But this recruiter calls me one day, and I'm, never in my life did I ever envision myself joining any branch of service. Not that I had anything against it, but I just didn't picture that being something that I would do at that point in my life, especially coming right out of high school. I went right to college. So, it was kind of just not in the cards for me at that point in time. And so when this Navy recruiter calls me and he's like, "Hey man, I want to, meet up and talk to you about enlisting." And I told him I wasn't interested. And he goes legitimately like on the phone with me, and he's like, "What are you, some kind of pussy?" And I was like, "Aren't you like representing the United States Navy? Like, did you just insult me? Like, you don't even know me, dude. Like, I will throw fucking hands with you, bro. I don't care." Like, I'm so serious. I was like, "Who the fuck does this guy think he is?" And so I was like, have a good day, and I hung up. And years go down the line, and I kept in touch with my buddy Daniel, and he was doing really really well, very successful in the Navy. And I was in college for a little bit, and then I dropped out of college, and I was we're just working full time at a student loan servicing company in downtown Chicago. My aunt was the senior VP of the company at the time, so she kind of hooked me up with the job. Good pay, and I was like, benefits, pay, all that stuff. It was good. So I did that for a while, and then I lost that job. And I remember my mom telling me, "You're either going to join the military or you're going to go back to school." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not fucking going back to school." So I was like, "I guess I'm going to look into joining the military." So I had no direction. I had no drive. I had no motivation. I was just a lazy kid. I was skateboarding all the time and getting stoned with my friends and getting drunk and just doing nothing with my life. And
We would have hung out. I was,
yeah,
we would have been buddies, dude.
yeah. I mean, I was a typical 21-year-old kid. And so I actually had looked into the Air Force first. Weirdly enough, that the Navy guy called me a pussy, and then I went to the Air Force recruiter's office. And so I only say that because my cousin's in the Air Force, and I feel like I can make fun of it.
Right.
But only we can make fun of each other. We can only make fun of us. Like anybody else makes fun of us, that we got problems. But anyways, I digress. So I went to the Air Force recruiter's office, and I was like, what's going on? What can I do? And I took a practice ASVAB, and I got like I don't know, I think like a 40 something or whatever. And he was just like, "Well," he's like, "you qualify for a few jobs. All we got to do is, we'll bump that score up. We'll study with you. We'll do this. We'll do that." And I was like, "All right." And, I looked at the jobs, and then he hits me with, "We just got to go, do this, that, and then check your credit." And I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, "Check my credit." And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're the only branch in the DoD that actually requires that we do that because of I don't know, the type of jobs that they do." And I guess it's just, they want to make sure you're not going to, be in a bunch of debt so you can take bribes for classified information, stupid shit like that.
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, so you're telling me that and my mom and my stepdad were with me in the office, and oh no, it was just my mom at the time. And I was like, "You're telling me that I'm willing to, if need be, lay my life down for this country in your branch of service, and I might not be able to do it because I might have bad credit." And I didn't at the time, right? So I was like, that's stupid. Like, I'm not even interested anymore. So I got up and I walked out. I walked past the Army recruiter's office, because the building in Chicago, that's where I'm born and raised.
All right.
So the building was, it was huge, and it had all 4 branches of service. And I walked past. I wasn't interested in Coast Guard at all. Nothing against the Coast Guard. My cousin was a rescue swimmer in the Coast Guard, and those guys are badass. But, I just wasn't interested. I don't like the ocean. It scares the shit out of me. So whatever.
Right.
And then I walked past the
kind of a prerequisite.
yeah, right. You kind of need to be comfortable in the water. So I walked past the Army recruiter's office, and I remember seeing some like really fat, overweight person in like really tight camis, and he looked like he had been licking Cheeto dust off his fingers. No bullshit. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. And I was like, "Oh no." And I walked past the Navy recruiter office, and I was like, never mind.
He already burnt that bridge.
Yeah, I had a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, if I fucking walk in here and it's that same guy, I'm gonna fucking throw hands with him. I'm gonna be like, "Remember me from 3 years ago, bitch?" And then I walked past the Marine Corps recruiting office, and they were playing Xbox and doing pull-ups on the pull-up bar. And I was like, what's this about? And my mom looks at me and she's like, no. And I was like, why? What are you talking about? You said join the military or go back to school. And she was like, you can join any branch except the Marine Corps. I don't want you on the front lines. And I was like, fair enough, whatever. So we walk to my mom's car, we get in, and she's like, we're gonna, figure out, this Air Force thing. We'll talk about it. And I was like, oh shit, I left my ID in the Air Force recruiter's office. I was like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab it. I did not leave my ID. Stupid me. I had my wallet in my mom's car because before I got in the car, I took it out because I don't like sitting on my wallet. So I always put it like in the center console. And I did that without, just as a force of habit. And so she was like, okay, hurry up. And I ran in the fucking office and I went into the Marine Corps recruiting office. And dude doesn't ask me my age, doesn't ask me my name, doesn't ask me anything. He just looks at me and he points at me and he's like, how many pull-ups can you do? And I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't think I've done a pull-up since high school. And he was like, get on the bar. And I did like 10, I think. And he was like, you only need to do 3 to go to boot camp or to graduate boot camp. You want to enlist in the Marine Corps, dude? And I was
What
like,
a line of shit.
I swear to God. And I was like, you want to give me a pamphlet first or something? Like, you got a card? Like, let's take this slow, take me to dinner first. And so, he fed me some information. He gave me a pamphlet, told me that they PT every Tuesday and Thursday at the recruiting station. And, they'll go to the park across the street. They'll do runs and they'll work out and stuff here in the parking lot and shit. So I was like, all right. And I went into my mom's car again. And I was like, I guess I left it in my wallet, and I left my wallet in here. Is it in here? And she's like, don't play stupid with me. She's like, did you go into the Marine Corps recruiting office? And I was just like, no. And then I sat down and I had the pamphlet in my waistband. So when I sat down, it crinkled the fucking papers. And she's like, what's in your waistband? And I was like, okay, I went into the Marine Corps recruiting office. And she goes, God damn it, Ryan. She got so mad at me. And I was like, I just wanted to hear him out. I'm just putting feelers out there, right? I'm not signing I didn't go in there and sign a fucking contract. Like,
Right.
Put my feelers out to kind of see, I'm exploring. I'm 21 years old at this time. I was like, I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly, right?
Do they fly?
No, so not at all. So she was like, oh, fine, whatever. So we go home and I was like, listen, come with me to a PT session from them. I at least want to go see how they work out and like what they're all about. So she's like, fine, I'll go with you. She went with me on a Tuesday night and they worked me so hard. I did frog leaps back and forth across the parking lot, and the parking lot's fucking big. Right. We did frog leaps there, run back, frog leaps there, run back for at least an hour after doing a 1.5 mile run. And mind you, I didn't work out. I didn't run. I skateboarded and I was, I played basketball, like, with friends and shit. So I wasn't like unfit, but right. Like I wasn't in shape, like the Marine Corps needs you to be in shape. And so I was done. And I puked so hard in that parking lot in the middle of doing frog leaps. And I looked at my mom and I looked at the recruiter and he's like, you okay? And I was like, where do I sign? I don't know what about it. Maybe I was a little bit sadistic back at that point in my life, but I was in love, dude. And I lived and breathed it from that point on. And
so cool, man.
And my mom she was supportive after a little while. It took her a little bit of time. She was not very happy with the branch of service that I chose. Yeah. But once I started kind of going to PT and she saw how dedicated I was to it, and she saw how much I enjoyed it and how much I loved it. And, she kind of got the whole thing where it's like, dude, my son's 21. He's got to make his own choice. And if this is a choice that he wants to make, then this is what he's going to do. And she had to kind of cut that forward a little bit. My mom and I we've always been and always will be very, very close.
That's cool, man.
So, but I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I was her only kid, and she was just not wanting to let that go. So
dude, that's a hard pill as a parent to hear that your son wants to be a Marine, because in the civilian world, what we've been told and what we are allowed to see of the Corps, is that, yeah,
It's nerve wracking.
this is the fighting group. This is the
Yeah,
first in and last out
yeah,
in everything that America does,
yeah.
So yeah,
You're
that's
a
a scary prospect.
yeah, and it's always so cliche to be like, oh, Marines are so badass, but it's like you go to the military, specifically more so with the Marine Corps, because every Marine, no matter what your MOS is, no matter what your job is, you're trained the same way as far as your basic combat skills, right? Unless you're a combat MOS, you're trained a little bit more in depth, obviously. But every Marine, a rifleman is the saying. So it's like, as a parent, I can't imagine, what was going through my mom and my stepdad's head, where my son's about to go possibly be shipped off to the Middle East. My son's
I was going
about
to
to,
say, especially during that time,
yeah,
man.
after nine
I
eleven.
mean,
I mean, it was 14 years after 9/11, but well, no, I'm sorry, 9 years after 9/11, when I enlisted. But and that was also another kind of you know bridge to getting me to want to enlist, because I was in eighth grade when the towers got hit, and I remember watching the second plane hit the tower, the second tower, live on the news, like in my
yep,
religion class, my first class of the day. And it was I was devastated. I was scared. I was like, what if, Chicago's a
yeah,
huge city too. What if they go for the Sears Tower? What if you know
yep.
what if they go for the John Hancock building? God, I couldn't imagine, right? So, I was very I've always loved America. I've always loved my country. I've always been a proud supporter of it, and I've figured, what better way to change my life, to give me some direction, to give me some purpose, and to give me the drive and the motivation that I needed to succeed in life, because I wasn't going to get it on my own. So, uh, unfortunately, I have a very uh, had, before the Marine Corps, I had a very laxy daisy kind of personality. I was just kind of nomadic. I was floating around. Whatever happened happened, and
Sure.
uh, you know, the Marine Corps gave me the direction, and it gave me the discipline that I didn't have. And without that, I don't know where I would be right now. And it's just it forced me to grow up. So a lot of these things were what I was thinking about for the long run of my life, because I hit a point at 21 where I was like, I can't just sit with my friends and get fucking drunk all day and get high and go skating and just kind of, I'm not going to go pro. I'm not going to be paying the bills from skateboarding. I'm not going to be a professional basketball player like I wanted to be in high school. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just kind of bouncing around from job to job, and I, I can't keep a job, and I just had no discipline. So I was like, I need to do something. And I'm looking at my friends group, and as much as I love all of them still to this day, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I need
It's
a
not for
change.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I need something to change.
Yep.
And so the Marine Corps did that for me. And but as a parent, seeing your son do that and then make such a drastic change, you know, to join a branch of service, who, their singular purpose is to kill. Like, you're trained to go in and end somebody's life,
Yep.
by whatever means necessary, and they train you in multiple ways in order to do so. Uh, that was a huge pill for my mom and my stepdad to swallow. So, um,
And one of the things that is prevalent that I see now, I see it in all branches. As I operate in the space and work with a lot of vets, combat, non-combat. I see this. There's a trait that runs, the a common denominator, but I see it more in Marine vets, and that is service to others. There's
yeah,
something about, and I don't know if it's the crucible that y'all go through, but it's built into to me, every Marine that I've come across, there is a service aspect, whether that's to friends, to family, to community, to other vets.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. It's a matter of, hey man, if I can be of service, I'm
yeah,
gonna be.
yeah,
And it's whether you got the uniform on or not, that never leaves. right?
Yeah,
Because I've seen it from young Marines and old Marines. It doesn't matter. It's still
yeah,
there.
that's kind of another deciding factor for what kind of pushed me in that direction too, because you always hear of I was ex Army, I was ex Navy, I was ex Air Force. You're never an ex Marine, and
Exactly.
you hear about that and you kind of laugh at it, and it sounds corny and cheesy. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Oh, you sound like a fucking motivator. You sound like a fucking boot. You sound like this. You sound like a fucking nerd. Whatever. And it's like, but unless you've lived it, like you really don't understand how true that statement is. And
Right.
the brotherhood is so strong in the Marine Corps, and it's embedded into your psyche. Like you have that constantly. You're reminded of that. It's to your brother and sister to your right and left, and you don't matter, they matter. Not that you don't matter, but like you're supposed to make sure that they're okay. And because vice versa, it's their job to make sure that you're okay and you take care of each other. And a lot of people say they see that with Marines because of that brotherhood uh, platform that we build on, that base
Yeah.
that they engrave in you, or very, very early on, when you go to boot camp. It's like it's an immediate shift in your mindset and how you think. And boot camp really does, not only is it the longest and the most strenuous and difficult physically and mentally, because it is true, it's 80% mental and 20% physical. I'm a firm believer in that. It wasn't that like it wasn't hard
It
physically, because
didn't feel like that.
it's extremely difficult physically, but they do a very good job at unlocking parts of your brain and your body that you never even knew existed. Uh,
Exactly.
and so when you graduate boot camp with this brotherhood mentality, you feel like you're part of the world's biggest and most loyal fraternity. And
So cool.
no matter where you go in the world, if you know you meet another Marine, they're going to treat you like they've known you forever. And and that's the beautiful thing about it, because there's all too many stories where you don't really hear that with any other branches. And I think that's what makes the Marine Corps separate, and what separates us from the others is that camaraderie,
Yeah.
um, and just being
Dude,
together.
dude, one of the greatest compliments that I get, it happens with combat vets and Marines especially, and that is when they start cracking on me. If they start, if they bust my chops or whatever, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm in,
Yeah.
dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it because I have the same dark humor, right? And so
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I laugh, it gets to me. But yeah, the moment they start busting my chops, I'm like, sweet,
Yeah.
now I'm in,
I feel like I'm part of the team, right? Yeah,
right?
it's funny how that
I'll
works.
be the cheerleader over here.
No, I mean, just from because I know you from Tip of the Spear, and from all the other guys that are on there. I just I'll give you your flowers now. I'm serious. I'm serious. Like
Well, thanks, dog. Thanks,
I
man.
mean, I don't mean I'm gonna bust your chops right now. I mean, like, it's people who didn't serve, but they have that respect for the military service
Yes, sir.
members, and who appreciate what every person in the military does, because there's too many people that don't care until they need to care, right? Like
Isn't that the freaking truth, man?
and it's like it's the same thing with police officers. Like you can try to be cool all you want and say fuck the police until you meet a police officer, and now all of a sudden it's like the police are the greatest thing in the world.
Hate them until you need them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
Yep.
you hear all too many people, like for a while now. I'd say for the last like month and a half, maybe even 2 months, my algorithm on TikTok has been full of like veteran disabled veterans, and like, oh well, must be nice to get fucking disability pay every month. Some fucking wacko liberal fucking extremist is over here fucking, oh well, it must be nice to get a check from the VA every month and not have to work. It's like that recruiting station was open
Mm,
to fucking everybody, dude.
yeah, it was.
It did not discriminate. You could be black, white, Asian, Mexican, fucking yellow, red, green, doesn't matter. You could have went in that same recruiting station that I went into, and you could have
Yep.
signed the fucking dotted line. I'm the one that just had the fucking balls to do it.
Yep.
So, don't give me shit because I decided to sign a blank check to the government and say this is good for up to sacrificing my life if I need to for the good of our country and for the
Yeah.
freedoms that these people take for granted so much every day. And it infuriates me how people can say that. And it's like
Yeah.
you don't have a
There's
right to say that. But people like you who show the other side of that and who bring to light that appreciation and who put forth the effort to be a part of that community and do right by it. So I just want to say thank you for
absolutely,
being one of
brother.
those people.
The whole foundation of this, I was very fortunate to be surrounded by the right type of people because the statement that was made to me and where the name True Patriot Outfitters came from was given to me by a combat vet, Bradley Commander, Purple Heart recipient. His statement to me was, "Thank you for being." He was talking to myself and one other civilian there. He said, "Thank you for being civilians worth fighting for." And dude, I'm one of
Yeah,
those guys that I hear everything that's said, and sometimes it takes me a little while to mull it through my head and really, get a hold of it to understand the impact.
yeah,
That was one of those times. And his statement was, "In my eyes, you're true patriots, and we thank you, for being those citizens worth fighting for."
yeah,
What I find in this space, when you said that not everybody, until they need to, do they care? I think a lot of it has to do that. What I see out there is, for most folks, when you say, veteran support, they immediately conjure these dark, bad, the reasons as to why we need to support.
yeah,
And I've been trying here to beat that back quite a bit with folks going, look, yes, there is a dark side. I'm a firm believer. There was a quote that was online, and the statement was every United States military service person pays with their life.
mhm,
Just some of them pay it all up front.
yeah,
But
yeah.
at the end of the day, no. So I mean, understanding that no, this just because service may have ended, I mean, there's stuff that comes with that for the rest of their lives, and
Absolutely.
so living up to that sacrifice. It's why, like what you said, dude. One of the things that does infuriate me is when I hear this socialism bullshit getting thrown
Yeah,
around. I tell people, I'm like, you do understand how polar opposite that is from a constitutional republic, right?
yeah,
And I'm sorry, there's been too much blood spilled and offered up to protect what we currently have. You don't get to wash it away just because
your
you want
feelings
some
are
you
hurt.
want something for nothing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. No,
yeah,
it's do we have problems? Yeah, we do, and we should probably try to figure out some resolutions to some of these issues. But that ain't it, dog. And so
yeah.
yeah, I
It's
I shun
crazy.
that stuff as much as possible. But
Yeah, I try to stay out of the politics stuff just
yeah,
because there unfortunately with this generation and with technology and social media, like there's you just always have to, and especially me being a music artist, I always have to be conscious of what I'm saying, who I'm saying it to.
right.
Uh, I always have to kind of be on edge because people, no matter what you say, will take offense to it. If I say that I voted for Kamala Harris, you'll have a bunch of, MAGA supporters that are like, oh, you fucking libtard, fucking
Yeah,
pussy.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, you love ruining the country, don't you? It's like, you know, but if I say I voted for Donald Trump, then it's, oh, you fucking racist, fascist piece of shit. And,
yep,
blah. And it's like, I can't win no matter what I do. So I didn't, I'll full disclosure, I didn't vote
yep,
for quite a while. The last time I voted was when I turned 18, and it was for Obama,
yep.
and it was for his. I believe it was for his first term. Yeah, it was his first term.
Please be, because you already made me feel old when you said you were in eighth grade when 9/11
Yeah,
went off.
yeah,
Because I had a 3-year-old already, dude.
yeah, yeah,
I'm over here like, what?
yeah. Well, I mean, I was, I voted for Obama, and that was the only time in my life I've ever voted for a president, and you know, it's just and like without getting too deep into it, it's just
Sure.
there's so many things that I don't agree with both sides. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
so in the middle and so over the bullshit and politics is just corrupt no matter where you put it. And
Thank you.
you know, I love everybody. You know, you can
I
choose to
say,
do whatever you want with your body, leave kids out of it. I'm a firm believer in that. I'll stand on that. But
yep.
you know,
I
do
say
what you
it time
want.
and time again. If you think it's left and right, you're not paying attention.
Yeah,
Right? It's
yeah.
a much bigger issue than that
It's
right
so
now.
much bigger than that. And you
If we're
know,
Americans, and let's figure things out.
yeah, and you know, the Charlie Kirk thing that happened, like that stunned me. You know, I had watched his debates. I wasn't like a diehard fan of the guy. I didn't agree with everything that he said. I agreed with a
Same.
lot of what he said, but
Same.
I didn't agree with everything. And I when I saw that, that was the first thing that I saw when I opened my Facebook on September 10th when he was
Mm.
shot. And I had to confirm it. Like I researched it right away because I saw the uncut, like unedited video from the front angle,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's got to be AI. And
Same thing I said, dude. I'm like,
yeah,
please, God,
yeah,
let this be some sick son of a bitch, messing
yeah.
around with stuff,
You know, anti-Trump fucking
Yep.
person just bored in his mom's basement making stupid videos, right?
Yep.
And it turned out that it wasn't. And I was in here. I was in this is my studio,
Yep. Yep.
and I was in here. This is I'm in a big shed in my backyard. That's where my studio's at. And I was like, I was sick to my stomach when I saw it, and I lost all my creative motivation.
Yep.
And I was like, I was just speechless. I was sick to my stomach, and I was like, I don't even want to fucking work on music anymore.
And
And
you know where that comes from, dude? If you've never been around death, then you can look at that stuff and just throw. What you do is your mind somewhere throws it up to movie stuff, to stunt stuff.
yeah,
If you've been around death, then when you see that horrible shit, you know what just took place.
yeah,
And
it's terrifying.
it hits those of us who have been around death. It hits different.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps. It was one of the
yeah,
critical things to me that changed my life last year. It was one of the two instances that, to be honest with you, actually reignited and helped me get my relationship back with God
yeah,
personally.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of people felt that way, and
yeah.
myself included. You know, I was raised Catholic, and you know, I went
Yep.
to church every Sunday, and you know, I went to a Catholic school from fourth grade all the way until I graduated high school. So I was in mass every Friday for my religion class, because
Yep.
that was always the first class of the day for all 8 of those years. You know, so I've always been a believer in God and Jesus, and that He died on the cross, and this, that, and the other for my religion of choice. And
Sure.
you know, I lost touch with it after a while, you know, and I feel like a lot of people do. And, you know, I had been saying before what happened with Charlie Kirk that I remember telling my wife like a year or two ago, I was like, you know, I kind of feel like I should try a little harder to get more in touch, like back in touch with my spiritual side.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was like, I mean, that's fine. You know, my wife's not very religious. So, you know, she's, uh, just
Yeah.
that's who she is, and I'm fine with that. You know, she's not, you know, against anything, but she's not really, it's just not her cup of tea. And so you know, she was very supportive of it, and she still is. And when the Charlie Kirk thing happened, I was blown away, and I like I said, I was sick to my stomach, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself like, God, how awful must his wife and kids feel, and
Oh my
you
God.
know, seeing that, like they're gonna have to watch that forever. Like that's the internet is
It's
forever.
it's burnt in their heads too.
Yeah,
If God forbid, if they happen to be looking at their dad or
yeah.
husband when it
And
happened,
it
it
was
will never leave.
and you know, as a father myself, you know, that I think that's the biggest reason of what did it to me is just thinking
Yep.
about my kids seeing that happen to me, and that was a big reason why I decided to get out of the Marine Corps. Um, was I wanted to choose the family life because
Yeah.
I didn't want to put myself in a position where one day, you know, God forbid, you know, something happened to me, if you know, on a deployment or something, you know, just happened to me just on the streets because some dipshit doesn't you know, respect the military or hates the military and decides to go on a fucking mass shooting on base, or I don't know, something.
Yep.
You know, the world's crazy. So
You know, a while ago that would have sounded really outlandish, and unfortunately now that
Right.
sounds like something we could be easily reading tomorrow
I could
morning.
see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So
yeah.
so it's like, I chose to get out, and you know, my daughter meant more to me. Both my daughters, because my 16-year-old, she's my stepdaughter, but I call her my daughter. She's never met her dad either, just like me. So I've known her since she was 4, and I've been the only father figure that she's had. So I'm her dad.
Love it, dude.
Um,
Love it.
so I love both my kids, and I just wanted to take that family life serious. So um,
Hell
I
yeah.
yeah, I got out, and in 2015 I got out in E4 as a corporal, and I just kind of cruised around for a little while, and worked some regular jobs, and then I started doing music.
I was going to say now the music. Let's get to this here. Let's. I love the fact. Thank you for sharing so much of that personal info, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome stuff. Were you? I mean, has it always been a part of your life? Was it something you started dabbling in when you were in the Corps, or was it after service that you were like, "What the hell?"
So
Turns out I got talent, and so let's roll.
well, so funny thing is, for a for my entire life, as far back as I can remember, single digits in age. My aunt Amy, my mom's got 3 sisters, and her youngest sister Amy, she was the one that kind of introduced me to rap music. Um, and it was game over from that. Playing Biggie and N.W.A. and Bone Thugs and Harmony, and Run DMC and Shine and
Dude,
Mace and
couple of
all those.
mine, Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah,
Remember any of his stuff?
yeah,
Ice
yeah.
T, like
Of course,
original Ice T stuff,
of
like
course.
Colors.
All that
That, oh
stuff,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
yeah.
I was introduced to all that. The first hip hop song that I remember hearing was Bone Thugs and Harmony, and I can't remember what song exactly it was, but I know it was a Bone Thugs and Harmony song. Um, and if I heard it, I'd probably be able to tell you, but I don't remember what the name of the song is. But um, from a very early age, I was very in tune with rap music,
Nice.
um, and I actually was in a band when I was a teenager. We really didn't do much, but it was like me and my friend and his cousin. The 3 of us kind of were just in some bullshit little band, and I played drums, and I, I've I was good at drums, and then I joined the Marine Corps, and I fell off with the music. But music has always been a huge part of my life.
They
Uh,
didn't issue you a snare drum,
no,
apparently.
No, no, they did not.
No,
I was
no,
not. I
no.
was not in the Marine Corps band. That was the thing, but no, I was not a part of the Marine Corps band. I just, when I got out, so how I became Theory, right?
Yeah.
I had actually, oh, my Siri just activated on my phone. So
It rhymes.
does that all the time. It pisses me off. But so how I became who I am now, it when I was 30, uh, I had actually had a really bad. So rewind right to 2018. I was living in Jacksonville, North Carolina, with my wife, my now wife. We were engaged at the time, but uh, we were living in Jacksonville, where she's from. That's where I was stationed. That's where we met in 2013. We've been together a little over 12 years now, and a hurricane had
Wait,
hit
Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah.
Jacksonville, North Carolina.
What is there? Is it
Yes.
the same city? Just it crosses state
No.
boundary? No, no,
No, it's Jacksonville, North Carolina.
no
It's
kidding.
it's the armpit of the United States. I fucking hate that place. Um, it's the worst place ever. Uh,
I don't know, southeastern Ohio, man. That's kind of like
no,
the butt crack, dude.
go to Jacksonville, North Carolina. It's full of fucking Marines, and it's fucking full of trailer parks and fucking strip clubs and bars.
Dog. I
It
see a
sounds it
field. I
sounds
see a
great,
field. It does,
but
doesn't it?
it's not. Trust me, I hated that place. It's boring. It's just I'm from Chicago. I'm not from the South. I'm not from the sticks.
Right,
You know,
right.
I'm always hustling and bustling. I love the busyness. I love the weather in Chicago. I love having a white Christmas. The whole fucking county of Onslow County in Jacksonville, North Carolina, shuts down at the hint of snow. Um,
Freezing rain, right?
yeah, like it's just dumb. Um, but uh, that's where I was stationed on MCAS New River, Marine Corps Air Station New River. It's right. It's the same city as Camp Lejeune, which
Okay.
is like
Yep, yep,
I think the second biggest Marine Corps base
yep.
in the world. So, yeah. Anyway, so a hurricane had hit. Uh, it was about to hit in September of 2018, and um, my wife and I, and both the kids and my cousin were all living together. And it turns out that we were going to evacuate because the county, Onslow County, was under a mandatory evacuation because it was going to hit landfall as a Category 5.
Damn.
It was Hurricane Florence that came through,
Oh,
and
damn.
so we were like, we're not staying,
Right.
and so we came to Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm at now, and we were just going to wait out the storm. So we stayed in a hotel. We got like 5 days for the hotel. My family helped us, you know, with the funds for the hotel,
Yep.
and basically our place got ruined in Jacksonville where we were renting. The highway I-40 east to get back down into Jacksonville was supposedly car window deep in water. Uh, so there was
Damn.
no driving back. And even if we could drive back, Jacksonville was so fucked. They were controlling the amount of gas you could get. They were controlling like how many people could go into a Walmart and like how many drinks you could get. Like you need to. It was just like almost
Pure
like a third.
rationing, yeah.
Yeah, rationing. It's almost felt like a third world country type ordeal, you know. And I'm like, I'm not bringing the kids back to that for sure.
Nope.
Because where are we gonna go, you know? So we decided to stay in Louisville and just start over. And so we stayed at a hotel, then we stayed in a Red Cross shelter, then we stayed in another hotel for a couple weeks because the Red Cross shelter actually shut down after 5 days, and they were like, we got to go out east and help the people who were affected by this hurricane. So here's a debit card with $985 on it. Good luck. That, you know, they did great. You know, I'm not shitting on them.
A full $985.
Full $985. No taxes, no nothing. So you know, I'm not shitting on the Red Cross. They did, you know, take care of us and they gave us a place. You know, we stayed on some cots, old like fucking World War II cots. You know, and we showered in the gymnasium that was over there, and like it was just not an ideal situation with two kids,
Yeah.
fiance and my cousin from Chicago, and we were living off of my disability by the VA, which at the time was only 40%, and I was only getting like $644 a month. So
Damn,
I
dog.
was like, you know, we're kind of screwed. And so my wife ended up finding Volunteers of America, and they helped us locate an apartment. They paid for the first 3 months rent. They paid for the security deposit. They paid for the first 3 months of our electric and our water bill, gas and electric and water. And they got us beds, bed frames, bed sheets, pillows, cleaning supplies, eating supplies, cookingware. They
Hell
set
yeah, man.
they set us up big time. They easily spent 10 to 15 G's on us. Because I'm a veteran, they had a veterans section for displaced veterans due to natural disasters, and that's how we got that hookup. So, you know, shout out to Volunteers of America.
I
They
was going to
were
say
amazing.
Volunteers of America is the name of that organization, huh?
Yes, yes, and they have a department for the VA for displaced veterans. There's a
Awesome.
couple other things that they help with veterans too. So if any veteran is watching this, you know, if you're really struggling, you can always reach out to Volunteers of America. I'm not 100% sure all the programs they have, but I know they have multiple programs that'll help veterans that are in need
Nice.
of assistance of some sort. So
Good stuff.
definitely utilize that as a resource. But the uh, the cool thing about that was, you know, we had all that stuff from the apartment. And they got us in there, and they gave us a second chance to start over. But 2 days after we got our first apartment, I remember hitting my bong really hard, and I knew it wasn't the weed because I was a huge pothead, by the way, at that time. I knew it wasn't the weed because I had just hit that that same bong with that same shit the night before. I hit it in the morning and I panicked and I had a huge anxiety attack. Before my car got repossessed because I lost it because I couldn't keep up with the payments. So they took my car. I had to Uber to work. I had to Uber to the grocery store and back. It was expensive. We were struggling. It was causing relationship issues with my wife and I. It was the kids. I was constantly having to say, no, I can't get this for you to my kids because, they want a box of Capri Suns to drink juice at the house. And I don't have enough money for that. I have to pay the electric bill or I have to pay the, this or that. So my car got repossessed. And 2 days after that is when I had my anxiety attack. And I felt like I was like dying, like legitimately dying.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. Like I was sitting on the couch and my wife and I, we just, hit the bong a couple times. And that was what kept me kind of mellow. And all of a sudden she looks at me and she's like, you lost all the color in your face. Are you feeling okay? And I was just like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? And then when she said that, that's when everything started to kind of just circulate.
Click.
And
Yeah.
it festered. And I was like, what if I'm not okay? And then I felt my fingertips get numb. My toes got numb. I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest. I couldn't breathe. Like I felt like a 600-pound person was sitting on my chest and I couldn't breathe. And I didn't feel good. I felt like I was about to pass out. And my wife's like, oh my God, like she's freaking out. And she's a CNA at this time. So she's freaking the fuck out. And
not good.
And my daughter was 3. My biological daughter was 3 at the time. So she's freaking out and she's crying and screaming. And my wife called 911. They took me to the hospital and the doctor, they ran some tests. The doctor came in and he's like, so it was, tell me a little bit about what happened. And I told him, a very Cliff Notes version of everything I just told you. And he was like, well, this was stress induced. That's why I asked, if there was anything stressful that happened in your life over the last couple months. And I was like, yeah, where the fuck do you want me to start?
I was gonna say, have a seat, doc.
Yeah, you're gonna be here for a long time. I hope you don't bill by the hour because you're stuck with me, bro, for at least the next 7 hours. And so he was like, this is stress induced. You have to figure out a way to manage this stress. Otherwise, next time you might not be so lucky. Heart attacks are the number one silent killer, or stress is the number one silent killer in males within my age group between 25 and 40.
Yep.
And that's a proven, medical statistic. So I was like, I'm not trying to be one of those numbers. So I had talked to my buddy and he was like, you said you wanted to write music, right? Why don't you're good at poetry. Like I was really good at poetry. I actually had a poem published when I was a kid. So, he was like, why don't you try doing that? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Well, let's try it. So anytime I would feel stressed or anxious about things, I would just start writing. And my buddy was playing a beat on, I looked up a Mac Miller type beat to play in the vape shop that I was working at the time.
Nice.
And I just started kind of rapping the poem that I wrote to it. And that's how I was like, damn. And my buddy was like, dude, you're really good at that. And I was just like, you think so? And he's like, yeah. And then I just started looking up more beats on YouTube and writing music to them and putting them out on SoundCloud where I knew I wasn't getting, I had no idea about the music business. So leasing instrumentals and paying producers and, royalties and stuff like that. I had no fucking clue about any of that. So I just put it on SoundCloud. And I was that, cliche, SoundCloud rapper, and it was just bad. But I fell in love with it, man. I fell in love with making music. I fell in love all over again with rap music because it was on a different type of feel versus listening to it rather than making it.
Yeah.
And it was an outlet for me to kind of get rid of all that negative energy that I would feel and put it into something positive and productive for myself.
And the name Theory.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
So my boss at the time and buddy of mine, his name's Anthony. He was the one who came up with the name. I didn't know what the fuck to call myself. And he was like, well, you're 30 years old. Why don't you call, or he's like, what about Theory? And he's like, but put the EO instead of EO, use the number 30 because you're 30 years old. And I was just like, you're a fucking genius. And it just stuck. So that's how theory came up.
So you're saying you're not 30 anymore?
No, no. I'm in my 30s.
I was gonna say you look it. I mean,
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
30. I'm 37. I'm gonna be 38 in July of next year.
There you
So,
go.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just fell in love with it, man. And you know, that date, February 6th of 2019, was the day that I had that anxiety attack, and it's forever embedded in my brain, like a lot of the Marine Corps stuff, and it's just one of those milestones, along with my military service, that kind of put a real big wrench in my life, but in a weird way, it kind of gave me a brighter pathway. You know what I mean? Like it gave me
That's
a different direction, but it turned out to be very, very productive for me.
that's the Marine in you. That's the. I mean, your decision of what to do with that. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, some people. Um,
Adapt and
I'm
overcome.
Yeah, and for me, you know, I will say this: I've never told this story to anybody outside, but it's the truth. It coincides with kind of what you're talking about. There is when you have shit land on you, you can make a decision of what to do. Now, when I was young, people always said I was just arrogant. Um, and I probably was maybe a little bit back then. I was, you know, a little bit this and that. But at the same note, it was just a matter of I grew up a very poor kid by a single mom, and dog, if you're going to get something, you just better go get it. And I just refused
Yeah.
to think that I couldn't go get it, so I just
Yeah.
kept digging. I failed nonstop all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
I failed,
Yeah.
but the difference was I refused to quit. I tried to come back. I've had that stress. Um, my kids that are now adults now, and like I said, I've never shared this story, but it speaks to what you're talking about. My kid's mother and I had a very just a rough 17 years, right?
Yeah.
And knock down, drag out, horrible arguments that we would get in.
Yeah.
One evening, one happened, and with my kids in the house, they're very young. I don't know if they remember it or not. I hope they don't. I hope it's blacked out for them.
Yeah.
But that stress hit me so bad, it basically collapsed me, dude. And I literally laid on the floor there in the living room, unable to move my arms and legs. It was a paralysis that had kicked on from the stress.
Ooh.
And it slowly came back. But I'm sitting here talking to my daughter, telling her to call your mother, get my phone and call your mother, because I had no idea what the hell was happening.
Yeah.
Went to the doctor the next day, and he told me what it was. He goes, you know, be honest with me, you got some stress induced stuff going on. I'm like, oh, doc, yeah, do I ever, you know? And so, yeah, dude, that shit's real. And what
Yeah.
you do with that, how if it's a motivator or if it's going to be a reason why you collapse, that's up to you, you
Yeah.
know?
And I mean, I still suffer from stress and anxiety, and depression. You know, it's not like, you know, anybody can suffer from those things. You know, and but like you said, it's kind of it matters what you do with that feeling.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I've been to therapy, at the VA for it. I had a really bad. I think that from that moment on, from the day I had that anxiety attack, I never ever thought about like dying, like
Right.
being scared to die. Um, and I
Even
don't.
even through your 5 years in the Corps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I knew that was a possibility. Like I knew that was going to be a possibility, and it's still nothing. And I don't know what it was, man. Like I really don't know what made this specific situation so different. But it was, and it fucked with me so hard that it literally has had years and years, even to current day, side effects from it. For example, I was in Vegas performing a concert once last year in March of 2024, and on the plane ride back, and now mind you, I've been on 35 plus plane rides, between now and the time that even when I was a kid, I went to Disney World at like 13 years old over in Florida or land, whatever one it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I took a plane then, never got scared. I flew to and from, Chicago and North Carolina, to go on leave, flew, to other places, never thought twice about it. But this one plane ride, it fucked me up, man. Coming out of Vegas, I don't know. Have you been to Vegas?
Oh yeah.
So you know how like when you're going down and you're going up, when you're taking off and you're landing, you're going through those mountains and it's a lot of turbulence. So when we were on the climb, now mind you, this flight was at like late at night, like I couldn't see shit, and I had a window seat, and my buddy Berserk, one of my good friends and fellow artist, and my roommate actually, he was with me on the flight, and he played the concert with me in Vegas, and he was in the middle seat, and there was somebody next to him, and the plane on the climb, I guess they were hitting some real bad turbulence, so the pilot decided to do turns and go around the turbulence. So he went with the turbulence instead of against it. Smart move for a pilot. My brain immediately, dude, and this is so fucked up. I'm so serious. It's so fucked up. Like my brain, I looked out the window seat and I saw him do like a legitimate 90-degree turn in this plane, and it felt like we were nosediving.
Oh
and
my God.
It looked like we were nosediving, and I'm full panic mode. Like I'm grabbing Berserk's leg, and I'm like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. And I'm freaking, like visibly freaking the fuck out. And my brain had already made up a whole situation in my head, a fake story.
Wow.
No bullshit. The story was that the pilot was married and had kids and a house and a great life, and his wife just left him and took the kids and took the fucking house, and he was like,
God.
and he was like, fuck my life, I'm just gonna take this plane down. That's a true story. That was the story that I put in my head.
God.
And so I thought I was gonna fucking die on this plane, and I was like, I'm going down. And so I'm panicking, and like he's looking at me, like Berserk's looking at me, and he's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, we're fine, dude. He's just going around the turbulence, like we're good. And I'm like, no, dude, no, we're diving down, we're diving down. And everybody on the plane is looking at me, like saying, like, we're going down. And I'm like, ah. I swear to God, dude, it was the most embarrassing.
Poor
but like,
bastard.
But like and it's because, like, I say all that to say that anxiety attack from 2019,
Yeah,
as good of an outcome as came out of it as me doing music, is it still left those lingering effects. And now, even to this day, I'm, if I'm feeling, sick, I constantly wonder, like, is this it? Like,
damn.
And it could be something as simple as, I have a fever and I have a cold, and now all of a sudden I'm sitting here thinking, like, what if this fever isn't just a cold or the flu? What if, like, there's something wrong with my liver or my kidneys? Or
Right,
what if,
right.
and like, I'll think like that. Like, even to this day, like it freaks me out. And I have coping mechanisms, right? And the music
Good.
does help.
Good.
But it's things like that do that. And, could you tie it to my service? Maybe if you dig deep enough. I'm sure I probably could find some kind of anxiety disorder because of the service. I'm sure it could be tied to that, but
this is one of the things when I first got into this space, started working and starting to understand who it was that I was serving, serving those that have served. One of the big pushes was that there was a push to pull the D off of PTSD. Yeah. Because they wanted it to be referred to as just PTS, because the statements that were made to me, once you've seen something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Once you've performed actions, you can't unperform those
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah.
And so the trick becomes learning how to live with and
Yeah.
manage through it, right? How to
Yeah.
remain positive, how to keep, that point. Music for a lot of people is that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is that therapy. For some folks, like in the space I operate in, the outdoors, it
Yeah.
provides that, that recharge, that self maintenance piece. But
Yeah.
yeah, dog,
And
and
that'll do that to me too. I love the outdoors. There's multiple things that I love to do that kind of keep me grounded now.
yeah,
Um, and I credit that outdoor stuff a lot to my wife.
nice,
She loves the outdoors. She loves going on hikes and trails and fucking going to see the waterfalls here in Kentucky and the
that's
limestone
strong.
gorge and like stuff like that. So, I credit a lot of that to her. She's very outdoorsy. She's very in tune with nature. She loves it.
Very cool.
Um, so, that keeps me grounded at the same time with the music. Having a good support system, having those people who are
Huge.
ready to reassure you that you're okay. And the thing is like I know I'm healthy. I go to my doctor appointments, once a year at the VA, and every year it's the same shit. It's your blood work's fine, your levels are great, your vitamin D's a little bit low, but just spend some time in the sun and drink some fucking milk. Like, whatever, you'll be fine. I'm good. All my oxygen is always great. My heart rate's always great. My heart's very strong. Uh, my lungs are strong. My liver and kidney levels are all fine. Like I know I'm healthy as an ox, and I don't have unhealthy habits either. I'm actually January 1st is going to be 2 years sober from alcohol for me.
Hell yeah, dude.
So yeah, so that's a,
Congratulations,
that's a
bro.
that's a big thing. Yeah, thank you. I stopped smoking weed 2 years ago also, so it's
There you
like,
go.
well, actually, I stopped a lot longer than 2 years, but 2 years ago was when I decided, because every once in a while I would like maybe, hit a joint or like,
Sure.
hit a bowl or a bong or something, and then I was just like, this is just making me paranoid now. So because I,
Right.
I I I resorted that feeling, that used to bring me
Yeah.
calm and collection. I resorted that to that anxiety attack.
Yep.
And like I said, it wasn't the weed that did the anxiety attack. It was all the stress that happened, and the weed was what kept me grounded and kept me sane for a very long time. And I relied on that. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, I stopped smoking weed, but then I started drinking again. And I was like, I wasn't an alcoholic by any means. I didn't like need to have alcohol to function or anything. But when I did drink, I didn't know when to stop. So
Right.
it was one of those things where it's like, I would drink to get fucked up. Like, there wasn't like, I wouldn't drink with my friends just to have a good time. Like I would drink with the intention of I'm getting blackout drunk tonight
Yep.
and I'm going to have fun and I'm going to not remember half of it. And so
No,
New
no
Year's,
future in that for sure.
yeah, and nothing but
Yeah.
health problems. So I was like, 2 years ago, I was in school, online schooling, using my GI Bill at Full Sail University, uh, which I did graduate from. Uh, so I had just started school, and I was like, it was a year after I started school, and I was like, I've been working full time and going to school full time and online courses, and I was like, I just don't feel motivated when I get drunk, and on the weekends was my time to chill and you know uh, make music and do all the stuff that I wanted to do that I can't really do much of during the week. So I would get drunk on the weekends and have fun, and then I would wake up the next day and I'd feel like fucking garbage. Sometimes my hangovers were so bad that I'd be having like cold chills and sweats, and I'd be so dehydrated that I wouldn't want to get out of bed. My legs wouldn't function right. Like it was just really bad hangovers. And I was like, this is inhibiting my creative process as well. And so I was like, I gotta stop. So January 1st of 2024, going into the New Year's Day on 2024, I decided to stop drinking alcohol, and I just gave it up cold turkey. I was just like, New Year's Eve, it was the last beer that I had. I was like, "This is it," and uh, you know, I, I haven't had a drop since. I'll drink my zero alcohol, like the Heineken 0.0s, like with the alcohol free ones. Like a lot of my buddies they'll get me like the non alcoholic beers because I like the taste of beer, and I still do. It's weird, but I like it. And
That's the
um,
Marine part of you as well. The beer.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. 'Cause you can't do anything else, you know. And we're founded in a fucking tavern, for God's
In
sake.
a
So,
tavern. That's right.
um, you know,
Was it Tins?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that the?
Ton
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tavern in Pennsylvania, Ton Tavern.
Ton Tavern. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, Ton Tavern. So my buddies will, say like, drink those non-alcoholic beers. They have like less than 0.5% alcohol, in there, and like you'd need to drink like 50 of them to even get a buzz. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to drink the ones that have any alcohol in them. Like I need to drink the ones that have none.
Yep.
So there's only a
Yep.
select few that I know of. Heineken is one of them that does a zero point 0, completely alcohol free. Stella does a zero point 0. Budweiser and Busch both have
Mm,
NAs. So those are Heineken is my favorite. I used to love Heineken even when I was drinking the
nice.
regular beer. I'll drink the Heineken zero point 0s, but I don't even do that as much now.
Yep.
I'm just so focused on everything else. Um, and
Well,
the go
the
ahead.
family and music, man. I mean, that covers
Yeah,
the I mean, I just from the little bit that I've had a chance to go out and peruse a lot of your content and stuff out there, that's what strikes me with you is, there is of course the video that they shared last night, the patriot,
yeah,
patriotic, that was fantastic.
yeah,
Um, but no, it's your music and it's family, man. That's at the heart of everything that is theory. From what
yeah.
I from an outsider's view, looking at this stuff. Do you
No,
mind if
that's
I
100% right.
do you mind if I share a little bit of Capone here real quick?
Go for it.
Is that cool? We're gonna
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
this in
Go for
here,
it.
and it should fire up the audio here.
Yeah, we did that. We did that music video. Uh, I think when was it? It was August of this past year. Uh,
Nice,
and because the song came out like a week before we went to Chicago. I actually, being born and raised in Chicago, I grew up like right by Wrigley Field, and so I'm a huge Cubs fan. And my my family and my friends, they had been hounding me for years and years and years. When are you going to come to Chicago and play a show? When are you going to come to Chicago and play a show? And I never could. And finally, my stepdad uh, had actually he changes out beer lines at bars for his job, and he met up with the owner of this one bar, Fuller's Pub in Chicago, and my family had been going to that bar for years and years and years. Like I remember being like 10 years old in there with my family members, like while they were all getting fucked up and having parties and shit. So like it was a full circle moment. But my stepdad had actually ended up talking to the owner, and he was like, my son does music. You guys have open mic nights every Tuesday or every Thursday and Friday. Would you mind if he came to do a show on a Friday night? And she was like, yeah, no, that's fine. So her and her husband, the two owners, they were very happy to have me, and I got to play my first show this year in Chicago, and it was a sold out show, and it was fucking incredible. So we
that's
recorded this,
awesome.
we recorded this video because that was the single that came out like a week before that show, and I wanted to do like a thank you to everybody, so we recorded this video real quick and just kind of slapped together some clips.
I was gonna say you did all the production on this thing,
Yeah, yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
It's
we
tight.
we do. Weirdly enough, now I have a really nice camera. I had a friend of mine who loves my music, and she ended up buying me like a $800 camera. And she's like,
Nice.
investing in you because I believe in you. I believe in your music. I believe in what you're doing, and I know that you're going to go far with it. So I want to invest a little bit in you, and just help you gain that extra foot. So she got me a really nice 4K video camera, and a bunch of accessories and shit,
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
lenses. Like she spent like $1,000 on me, and so it was really cool. But this video was filmed before I got that camera, and it was with my iPhone. So
No
I have
kidding.
I have an iPhone 15 Pro, and this entire video was filmed on that iPhone 15 Pro,
All right,
and
folks,
I edited that myself too. So
look at you go, dude. A man of multi talents.
yeah.
Let's see. You're gonna share a
I
little bit
also
this with you.
record and engineer myself too. Like I record myself in my own studio. I mix and master all my own music. I sometimes make my own beats. Actually, a fairly big artist who I got the chance to link up with, and I have a song with. The song's called "Lost and Loveless." His name is Binks.
Uh-huh.
He's a really really big independent artist. He's worked with a lot of really big names in the industry, and he and I are, we're good friends now, uh, and we're very close now.
Super
We've
cool.
continued to make that relationship kind of happen, and he's a very good friend, and he actually made this beat for me in Vegas when we played together last year. So
Good stuff. Let's go ahead and fire up a little bit of this. Is that coming through? Can you hear it?
yeah,
Okay, good.
I'ma get it on my own, yeah. Y'all done turn my heart into a stone, yeah. If you talking drama, please don't hit on my phone. I ain't got a thing to say to you. I've been in my zone, boy. Shit call me Capone, and I did it on my own, yeah. Y'all done turn my heart into a stone, yeah. I ain't got no love, and you haters gonna know. I ain't got a thing to say to you. I've been in my zone, boy. Shit call me Capone, and I did it on my own, yeah. I'm a boss, better get it right. Moving different on them, so up that I'm out of sight. They ain't keeping up with me, so they try to dim my light. They ain't know that I already made it through the darkest nights. Parasites, jealousy is strong, I can smell the spite. Your mood is wrong, better catch a fight. Got connections with my homies that are watertight. All you bitches thirsty for a buzz, all I got is Sprite. So fuck up my face, I'm sick of the snakes. I ain't slowing down cause I got too much talent to waste. I'm loving the thrill, I'ma chase it. I'ma get it on my own, yeah. Y'all done turn my heart.
Dude, that's tight. That's tight as hell. I love that. Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
and one of the things I'll tell you. So I'm an old school dude when it comes to the what hip hop and rap that I do like. What I don't have time for is that mumble junk where you
Yeah, no,
can't
I don't do that.
understand. I love the fact that I can actually understand what you're saying and I can
Yeah,
appreciate your lyrical creativity of how you put things together. That was that's a
I get
strong
that a
piece
lot
there.
actually. I
Yeah,
get that a lot. You know, I being the type of artist that I am, uh, I'm very heavily influenced by multiple people.
nice.
You know, Eminem is obviously a huge influence for me. I grew up on his music, for a good chunk of my childhood, uh, and most of my adult and all of my adult life so far. So, he's been a huge influence and just an inspiration. His story and his resilience to keep going even when everybody would shit on him early on in his career and everything. And
Yep.
uh, you know, uh, uh, as far as like older guys, some of the you know real big influences for me. Rakim is
Good God, yeah.
a big one for me. I love his music. That man is incredibly talented.
Yep.
Um, and I listen to a lot of. I don't listen to a lot of new rappers and new hip hop music. It's very rare that some of that stuff kind of intrigues me for these new artists. But like artists that I like that are still dropping music to this day are ones that I get excited for when new stuff drops. Like Logic is one of the biggest influences that I have. His music was actually a big chunk of really what saved me out of
Love it.
that depression and that anxiety moment that I had. I remember trying to rap along to all his songs on the Incredible True Story album that he has. The Incredible True Story is just such a incredible album, and I remember like literally starting songs over because I flubbed a word and I would rap along to it. And this is before I ever started rapping my own music or writing my own music. Like I would actually like actively try to rap and do it like him. Same thing with Eminem. Same thing with Big Sean. I love Big Sean. I love Joyner Lucas. Joyner Lucas is super lyrical. I'm heavily influenced by him a lot lately for this new project I'm working on. Um,
Very cool.
but I mean, I try to kind of do it justice. I don't rap because it's a way to a bag. Like, yes, I would love to be able to live off of my music and make money, as much money as I can possibly make, doing what I love for a living. I would love to be able to do that. But I'm not doing it just for the money. I'm doing it because I love the culture. I'm doing it because I love the competition aspect of rap. I like being able to showcase myself. So when I do a show and I play live, you don't hear me rapping really over any of my backtracks, like my vocals. I'll take those out because I feel like I need to showcase my talent. So I put a lot of practice into my live performance and my breath control so I can
Nice.
rap those fast parts and those really long parts, and be able to do that in one breath and be able to do that without fucking it up. I do a lot of that, and I take a lot of pride in my craft. So,
I love it, dude.
yeah,
And that's the key piece. I'll be honest with you. One of the things, and I don't have an artistic bone in my body. Okay, I just,
I'm sure you could find one if you tried.
it's I don't know. It's my Scottish heritage, dude. I mean, bagpipes are not, I
Dude,
don't
if you
know.
whipped out bagpipes right now and started playing, I would be blown the fuck away.
I'm just saying that might be the only thing I have a shot at it because I'm not sure many people can tell if it's good or bad, even when it's
Yeah,
great. So,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
but no, one of the things that that you see out there, there's got to be something more than money.
Yeah,
I don't care what people say. If money is your sole motivator, you will burn out. It's going to
yep,
go away. Dude, I spent most of my 20s and 30s chasing the dollar. And when I got the dollar and I made it to a certain level of monetary, asset value, still had the same bucket load of problems that I had. The only difference was I had a few more zeros behind them now
yep,
and realized at that point. So I got lucky and changed away from that. But yeah, so the fact that you do it for the love and that you go after this,
yeah.
it shows, dude. It absolutely shows in
I
the
appreciate
craft of
that.
what you're doing. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I mean, I do it for the love and for respect. I want to gain respect from my peers and from people who are even higher than me. A lot of these big artists, I would love to be able to one day be considered a peer to them, and like, hey, this guy's really dope. I'd love to do a song with him. You know what I mean? Like, I would love
yep,
to be able to work with some of my idols. Um, I'm very big on manifestation with that. So I manifest that shit all the time, and quite a few of those things that I've manifested have actually come to fruition, which is kind of
love it.
crazy. Uh,
Yeah,
so that I'm very big on that, and I do it for that. I do it for the love, for the respect, and I also do it because that's my outlet. That's what kind of keeps me going. It's what allows me to release the stress and the anxiety and the bad thoughts and put them just down. And I found that very early on when I started doing it, because I would be so stressed out and I'd just have a shit day or something would happen in my life, and I'd just be really aggravated by it. And then I would sit there and I would put these huge over the ear Bluetooth headphones on, and I would attach it to my phone, and I'd be up after work. Yeah, I'd get off work at like 9:30 ish at night, and then I'd come home maybe 10:30. I'd be home, and then I would stay up until 1 2 in the morning writing lyrics, because if I had a stressful day, uh, I could take that feeling and I would focus on something else besides the stress, and
yep,
I would try to I would be able to take those thoughts and think about what word I could use or what phrase I could use to rhyme with this, rather than think of what was going on that was stressing
yeah.
me out. So I just changed the course of.
Creates a hyper focus. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah.
and after just doing it for a little while, I fell in love with it, and then I found out, I was going, not a single day without writing something down and making a song or whatever. And very early on, and as I was learning more about the industry and learning more about what all really, really, truly goes into making a song, it intrigued me even more. I started learning how to record myself and how to mix my own music. Shout out to Ryan Watts, one of my very, very good friends, one of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding, and he taught me almost everything I know about how to like engineer myself and record myself and like
So
mix
cool.
my own music. And I've just evolved from that. But like that right there, just involving myself with people who are like-minded, who have the same goals and who have the same interests, and
Yep.
who I can learn things from, and you are the company that you keep, right? So
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
just trying to continue that growing period for me even now. uh, and kind of learning over time to tune out the hatred too, because I'm a white dude in a black culture, and you know granted, it's 2025. It doesn't necessarily matter anymore, especially with music. Nobody gives a shit, but
Right.
you still do get flack for it. And, especially even, the age thing, like, oh, well,
I'll
you're in your 30s, bro. You need to fucking get a job and focus on, working towards a retirement so you can provide your kids, with a better life. And it's like, dude, fuck you. Like
you know
I was so self-conscious about that shit for a long time. And
wow.
then you find out that like certain huge artists didn't blow up until like their late 30s. Some of
Do you
them in
know
their
how much
early
I
40s.
smile when I find out that Eminem and I are the same age? I
Oh,
freaking
it's
love that. And
crazy.
he's still dropping shit. He's still
Yeah.
arguably the GOAT sitting out
Yeah.
there. I'm like,
There's no
love
way
it.
that you can argue. Anybody can't, like, nobody can argue with me. And well, you can argue with me, but nobody will ever be able to change my mind. And I'm not biased because I have white skin.
Sure,
I
sure.
I- it I'm biased because he's better than
Yeah,
everybody. He is
yeah.
the greatest of all time, I think. There's not a
S-
single person. I will literally sit there, and what I love about like real rap music is it makes you think, and it's like he can tell such a crazy story, and he
Right.
has so many like double and triple and quadruple entendres with the words and phrases that he's saying that have these double triple meanings. And it just like I will literally sit and dissect an Eminem verse
Yeah.
and break down the bars and be like, "Oh my god!" Like this man is a fucking genius.
Like a
Like,
savant when it
oh
comes to
my
that
god,
stuff.
dude!
Yeah.
Like he is so and so many people are so turned off by him because, oh well, you don't play him in the clubs, and it's like he said a line in a song that he did for one of his newer artists that I guess signed with Shady Aftermath Records with Dr. Dre and Eminem. The guy's name is Easy Mill, and kid's talented as fuck. But he and Eminem did a song together, and Eminem said, "Only reason they still play your shit in the clubs is because you still perform in them." And he's performing in fucking 100,000
Yeah.
cap arenas, and it's like he's
Ouch.
he's selling out like 100,000 plus stadiums and arenas, and you're playing in a club with a 1,500 person cap. It's like, dude, get on my level. You like
Yeah.
so he's you can't change my mind on that. He's
Yeah.
amazing. There are people who I believe can hold a candle to him for sure, as far as like
There's
talent wise and rap
yeah,
wise. Yes, but
there's plenty of talented, but I think when you look at an entire body of work, look at the span of time, look at the evolution of his music,
he's
it
the
has
top.
come
He's
it's
the
come
top
a
stream.
long way from where he started with it. I
Yeah,
mean, he's
a
he's
a hundred
always
percent.
yeah, he's always had that, that lyrical capability, but even that has gotten stronger. His
Yeah,
ability to
yeah,
rhyme not just words, but syllables, dude, with
yes,
inside words,
yes.
the way he can break.
Intersyllable rhyming
Yeah, it's
for
like,
sure.
and like you
And
said, the
like you hear,
entendres.
yeah,
Eek.
you hear old like Slim Shady, like, and it's always so enjoyable for that like no filter, I don't give a fuck kind of music, and it's like that's great. That was the Eminem that I grew up on, and like now you have all these Gen Z liberal woke kids that are like, did he just say he raped his mom like in a song? And it's like, dude, that's light work for Eminem.
I
You
was
did not
gonna
grow up.
say.
We are not the same, dude. Like you would not, you would die in my
Yeah.
generation. Like and I love that shock value that he puts, but like he's definitely honed in on those skill sets, and he's gotten better with the age, and the fact that he's still able to do it at the level that he's doing it at 52 years old.
I'll
It's incredible.
I'll tell you this though, the one thing where I was going this earlier when I said I don't have an artistic bone, but I actually get sick to my stomach. And it happened from a personal experience is AI music.
Oh God,
It annoys me to no level. I actually been doing some research of how to find a way to filter it out of my YouTube music.
yeah,
I heard this song. I'm driving in the truck. I'm like, hey, this is a good tune. What is this? And I see Frontier, something is the name of the band. And I'm like, wow, never heard these guys before, type thing. Well, I do a little research when I get home and I'm like, wait a minute.
fucking AI.
this is an AI front is what
Yep.
this is. There's
Yep.
there's people behind it writing lyrics or
Sometimes not even that.
giving lyrics, but yeah, the vocals, the music, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm immediately like thumbs down, dude.
Yeah.
I do not, because I know so many artists out there and I have such an admiration and respect for you guys. It's kind of like you can't, now I understand like logo generation stuff, why people do AI creativity in that
Yeah.
space. I get that to a degree, but it's still, it treads into the humanities section, I think, of us as humans in our culture. And
100%.
I get, when I hear people use the word cultural construct or a social construct, I'm like, yeah. And that doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. This is our culture.
Yeah.
For good, better, bad, or worse, this is our culture. And we at some point should preserve that. In the humanities of
Yes.
art is so critical for everything.
Yeah.
I think for our just our well-being, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like even painting and like, you know,
Yes.
drawing and artistry like that. Like, you know, so much of it is computer generated, and like I don't have a problem with, you know, using AI as a tool, but when people use it as the sole, you know, method of creating their music, it's like you're not an artist. You're you know, typing a prompt into an AI generated, you know, machine, and it's popping something out for you. Like I could go on Suno right now and I could type in a prompt that says, make me a song that's, you know, Drake and Future style, you know, with the beat, and like, you know, make the lyrics about, you know, uh having multiple women calling me, you know, in a day, and like, you know, not knowing who to choose. Like I just literally throwing some random shit out there,
Yep.
and they'll do an entire song with the, you know, a verse, a bridge, a hook, you know,
Yep.
and the beat and everything, and it'll even Suno will even like track it out for you and like have each individual track, so it's like you have just the vocal, just the snare drum, just the hi-hats, just the fucking melody.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it to me, it takes away not only the artistry, but it takes away the challenge and the fun for what goes into it too. Because like I could sit here, there's a song, because I sell beats as well. On the side, I make beats and I'll sell them to people, and I'll mix other artists' music, and I'll charge people, you know, $50 an hour to come in my studio and record, because I do a good sound. I have a good sound, and you know, a lot of people like it, so they come to me and they pay me to record them. And I mean, I'll have. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So
Welcome, Master Theory.
Oh, that's berserk, ladies and gentlemen. Don't. He is not
Master
my
Theory.
He's not my slave. Don't let him. fool you.
Master got me working.
Huh? You're an asshole. Anyways, before I was so rudely interrupted, no, he got me a bottle of water. I texted him. I'm like, can you please bring me a bottle of water? I'm thirsty as shit.
Can I leave
But,
now, sir?
Yeah. Anything else you need, sir?
This is Alfred.
Yeah. No, he's a very, very talented artist as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and so like, you know, I charge people, you know, to come here and record as well, and you know, there's a song that David Willis actually loves, that I put out a while ago. So it's called "Falling from Grace," and it kind of talks a little bit about what we're discussing right now, where it's like, you know, I feel like sometimes with everything that's going on in life and politics and in the music industry and this AI stuff, like I feel like, you know, sometimes I need to become a different type of person just to kind of be a success story with music, and like sell out in a way in order to actually get somewhere. I never would, but like, you know,
You feel the pressure.
yeah, you feel the pressure of that, and it's like you lose who you are, and like I feel like I'm falling from grace when I feel like I have to do that, and or if I feel like I have to do that, and the funny thing about that song is like I actually made that beat myself, and I was gonna sell it to a friend of mine. He had asked me to make him like a dark piano kind of, depressing kind of sounding style beat, and I made it, and as I was sitting there listening to it over in my head, making sure all the levels were good and all the instruments were mixed up right and everything, I was like humming a melody in my like head, and I was, so I started doing it out loud, and I was like, man, that melody sounds fucking good. So I put some random lyrics to it, and I sang it on the microphone, and I recorded myself singing to it, and then I was like, maybe I'll sell it to him with a hook on there. And because like, people could do that, and like I've done music with this kid before, so it's like, maybe he'll just have a Th30ry feature on the song. I'll throw him the instrumental, and I'll throw him the version with me singing a chorus on it or a hook, and see if he likes it, and if he likes it, he can have it. He's paying me for the beat regardless. I won't charge him for the feature. You pay me $100 a beat, and there you go. So I was getting paid regardless. So I was like, but man, I really like this hook. So I was like, I'm gonna write a verse to it. So I wrote a verse to it, and I was like, I really like this verse. And I'm like, I'm just gonna keep the beat. And so I kept it. And I texted him, and I was just like, that song that I sent you a clip of, like a little preview of, and I asked for your permission, like if you liked it, and, like I asked for your approval. And he was like, yeah, I love it, man. It's like, I'm not giving that one to you. I'll make you a different one. And he was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry, I love it. I just wrote a hook and 2 verses for it, and I'm recording it right now. I was like, I'll make you another one. And he was like, that's fine, whatever. And we laughed about it. He wasn't mad or anything, but I ended up turning that song into what's out now. It's called Falling from Grace. If you ever get a chance, definitely play that one. It's a very real and emotional song, and it's a very just authentic like version of me, and like some of those thoughts that I'm thinking of, and me kind of putting them out for everybody to hear, like what it's really like that goes on in artists' head when they're hit with all these pressures and all these, what's the word I'm looking for? All these temptations, right?
Well, and that transcends even outside of your artistry too. I mean, that's straight into life. Everybody in some version, finds this, whether it's through friendships or relationships or
Yeah,
jobs, they will feel that. It's maybe magnified in your world for sure, in the entertainment industry like that,
yeah,
because of that social influence. One of the concepts that we've been really coming to grips with this off season, when I say off season, the winter time for me, one of the things we've really gotten into that we start to talk to people about is find your anchor and lean into it. Okay,
yeah,
when the water's getting rough, those winds are picking up. Find your anchor, whatever it is. For me these days, it's my faith, it's my relationship. That's with God.
yeah,
That's my anchor now. And so when things are getting rough, I'm trying to learn to lean into that. Music for so many people is their anchor.
for sure.
What you're doing is such an avenue for healing, not just for yourself, bro, but for everybody that gets a
Other people,
chance.
yeah,
Hell yeah. Like you
because I
said,
mean,
like-minded individuals, right?
yeah,
People that can resonate with your lyrics and pick up on that stuff are like, yeah, dude
I
gets it,
feel this guy,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny that you bring that up, because that's always been like a core value for me with my music, is like, you know I have a song on my very first album that I put out. I actually released it on the Marine Corps birthday in 2019, November 10th, 2019. It's called Carpe Noctem. And it's Latin for seize the night. And everybody always hears, seize the day for Carpe Diem. And it's like this
Yeah.
positive thing. Well, Carpe Noctem was seize the night, and that's the nighttime is when I would do my music. It's when I would write. It's when I'd work all day, and then I'd come home, be fucking pissed off and stressed about my life and where I'm living and all this stuff, that I'm in some shit apartment in Louisville, and I didn't want to be here, and I'm making bullshit money, and I'm struggling, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm just stressed out about life. And the nighttime is when I would seize those moments. So
Love it.
Carpe Noctem was a fitting title. And you know I have a song, the very first song that opens that album is called Hip Hop Saved My Life. And it's I couldn't be more honest with that statement. Like, I mean that in like the most wholehearted, like real, authentic way. Because it really did. You know, I know that we had mentioned, you know, before we started recording the live, you know, talking about, you know, the 22 a day thing
Yeah.
and wanting to try and figure out ways where we can help fight that and lower that number, you know, hopefully to zero one day. But you know, do our part to do what we can. Uh, but I had actually almost had a attempt to take my own life at one point. I was really, really down. I was going through a really bad situation with my wife at the time. She was just my fiance, but we were going through a really bad situation. Um, and, you know, I won't get into details, obviously,
Sure,
but
sure, sure.
you know, it was the lowest I've ever been in my entire life, and I was broken in so many different pieces, and I I didn't know how else to do it except, excuse me, through the music. And what had happened was the night that I was gonna do it, I was super close to doing it, and I had a gun in my mouth, and my mom called me, and I immediately was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, if you would have done this, your mom, what is she gonna? What is she gonna?
Right.
What is your fucking kid gonna think? Your daughter's gonna think you're a pussy, dude. Like, you give up and you just fucking life gets hard. What are you teaching her? You know, what are, you're gonna leave her with her mother who's gonna be devastated and all this stuff." And I'm like, you know, even though you guys are going through a hard time, and I'm saying all this shit to myself, trying to hype myself up. And I answered that call, and you know, I've mentioned to her once before. She's probably forgotten about this story, but I've mentioned it to her once before that phone call literally saved my life. And uh, you know, she understands. She was obviously really devastated when I told her that story. Um, but you know, she like I said, probably doesn't remember me telling her that now. But you know, good. Uh, but yeah, that and music really brought me out of that funk, combined with all the anxiety and depression that I was feeling, and music did that. So
Yeah.
that core value of having that message resonate with other people who have potentially felt those same feelings, been through a lot of those same experiences in life,
Yep.
had a lot of the same hardships, or even if they haven't had the same hardships, they're just having some kind of hardship. I always try in my music to give the feeling and give the message of, no matter how hard it gets, you just don't fucking quit. You don't stop.
Yeah.
You plow through whatever is in your way. It doesn't matter if it's a person, doesn't matter if it's a fucking object, doesn't matter if it's a building.
Yep.
I don't care if it's fucking Godzilla. You smash right through it. Like, you, if they're not, you know, with you, they're in your way. And so, you know, that's what I got when I was listening to Logic, because a lot of his message is he's all about, you know, he says in a lot of his music, PLP, it's peace, love, and positivity. And he wears his heart on his sleeve in his music, and he's not afraid to talk about those dark thoughts and those dark experiences,
Yeah.
and and how music helped him. And so that relation that I have with that music is why I'm so passionate about him as an artist, and how heavily he's influenced me as an artist.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to carry that torch and do that for somebody else. Maybe
Yep.
one day motivate somebody else to want to start doing music and be like, dude, I've gotten messages from people. I got a random message from some guy in Australia that was like, dude, your music saved me. Like,
Yep.
I was gonna do some dumb shit, and then I heard one of your songs, and it talked about this, and what I cannot for the life of me remember the song. I still have the message. I'd have to dig through my Facebook messages or
Sure, sure,
messages.
sure.
It would probably take me an hour to find it,
It's all
uh,
right. You're
but
good. You're good.
but he whatever song it was came on, and he's like, it was just, yeah, and he had never heard of me.
Yep.
It just was on his shuffle on Spotify, I think is what he was talking about using. And he said that, you know, when you're done listening to an album or like an EP or whatever, or a song, uh, usually the algorithm for Spotify will play like artists, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
similar artists
Similar
that are
genre.
related. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess one of my songs came on and he heard it and it spoke to him, and he was like, I no longer felt like you gave me like a new sense of
Yeah,
strength and
dude.
like hope. And that, I like cried. I
That's
was
so
like,
cool,
I
man.
could have potentially, this guy lives, you know, on another continent, and I could have potentially just saved his life just through my artistry and
Just
like what I'm saying.
sharing your passion. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's, I love that, man, and I love that music brings people together like that, and it's such a universal language, and it's just, it makes it that much more fun, that much more enjoyable, that much more, you know, I'm so much more passionate about it, and there's
It's,
nothing you can do to take that away from me.
you know, and it can range. It can be from a bad day to something as severe as what that gentleman from down under basically was talking with you about.
Yeah,
We get a similar feedback piece. I've had in the three years of doing the outdoor kayak fishing work, we've had responses that range from the hey dude, that was fun, appreciate it, all the way. I've had now two individuals basically say, brother, you may have just saved my life. You know,
yeah,
appreciate that. It's the connection, right?
yep,
It's the connection. If your song, you might be singing about an instance in your life in one of your songs, but as you know, with true artistry that is not AI generated, true artistry can be interpreted by the consumer, right?
a
In
hundred percent.
their own instances, in own life experiences, start to take in and either
Yeah,
hear or see. So yeah, dude, it's that
it's
connection
that, yeah,
through and
that
through.
human connection for sure, and even, you
That's a
know,
big deal.
the live, yeah, it's a huge deal. I think that's what makes you an artist, and especially like, you know, live performances, like actually putting a face to the voice and a face to the name, you know, because you know, sure, you could, you Google pictures of Theory, sure. Could you look on Theory's Facebook or Instagram and see pictures of Theory? Sure. Um, could you listen to a music video and watch a music video and hear me, you know, hear my voice, and as I'm you know, singing or rapping or whatever I'm doing? Sure, you could do that. But being face to face with these people and your fans and your supporters,
Yep.
it, there's nothing like it. And AI is essentially, you know, replacing so much in the music industry.
It can't
Um,
touch that.
but it will never hold a candle to that.
Nope.
And I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, I've never used AI to do any of my music. I've never used AI to do any of my beats. I've used Chat GPT to make like album art for me before.
Sure,
You
sure.
know,
Right.
what I've like, I took a selfie of myself. If you see the Capone album cover, or the single cover, uh, it's me in like an Al Capone 1920s gangster style, like, you know, wanted poster, and not wanted poster, but like a prison photo,
Yeah.
and you know, I got the fedora on, and I just took a selfie of myself looking just like this. I didn't have a hat on, but I took a selfie of myself with no hat and just in a fucking t-shirt sitting on my couch, and I put it through Chat GPT and I prompted it, you know, what I wanted it to look like, and it came out with that. And I made my little adjustments on there, and edited the photo a little bit, added a couple things myself, and there was the album art. So like using it for stuff like that, I can see. I still kind of feel iffy about that because I do have
Right.
friends that do, like, you know, album art and graphic design, but sometimes you just don't have the money to pay, you know, these people. And I'm a very firm believer, and if you provide a service, even though you're a friend, I'm not just looking for a fucking handout. I'm not gonna,
Nope.
you know, it goes along with like, my buddy's a barber, right? I'm not gonna go and be like, oh, let me get a free haircut. Like, no, I'm gonna support your business. I'm gonna pay you for
Right.
cutting my hair or trimming my beard
100%.
because I don't have any hair. You know, well, I do, but
cheap
it grows
cheap
in like
haircuts.
patches. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I just take a freaking electric clippers, and I just no guard, and I just buzz it. Like, I don't get a shit.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
but yeah. Oh, I put these on back on my fucking hat. I feel naked without a hat,
Right.
um,
Right.
but yeah. So, you know, it's like that. So I don't always have the money to be able to go out and
Sure.
support some of my friends. So like, you know, I kind of venture out and find my own things. But
When it's you know, when it starts to try to interrupt the human connection piece, dude, you can tell, you can hear feelings in music, right? I mean, it's
Definitely.
when a good artist is conveying that message through their words and through their lyrics and through their performance, you can feel it, and it's those performances that are the most memorable,
Yeah.
that don't just sound like a, an AI generated, heartless, soulless type, maneuvering
Yeah.
out there. So,
And
well,
that's why I like that song, "Falling from Grace."
yeah,
If I don't know if you'd have enough time, but if you wanted to play that song on YouTube, if you could find that song, the first verse, and the hook, and kind of, I think that you'd really like the track. Willis is a huge fan of that song. He loves that one. Um,
I'm looking through the stuff right now. Let me just search it.
yeah, it's "Falling
Theory
from Grace."
falling from grace. Yeah, we can do that. We'll close out with that here. Okay, I
Yeah,
got
that
you.
works.
Theory. All right,
I
one
made that
sec.
album art myself with a little template that I found on this website called Poster My Wall. Because I'm a huge
Nice.
space fan. Like, if I could show you this fucking huge tapestry in front of me,
Yeah,
it's space related.
you
Like,
a space nerd?
there's a
Love it.
huge. Oh, I love space, dude.
Love it.
I could sit here until fucking 7 o'clock tomorrow morning and talk to you about space. Um,
At this rate, we're on track for it, brother. This is
yeah,
like
yeah.
might be one of the longest interviews I've done yet. I love it. It's all been
Sweet.
perfect.
I'm honored.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
also
yeah.
apologize.
No, no. This I have had one go over 2 hours. Looks like we're gonna land right about that time, so we're
There you go.
perfect, dude. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I love space, and so uh my Me Against the World album that I released in 2022 is actually a concept album. It's got skits and like a whole plot and everything. And the story with that album, I'll tell you real quick before you go into the song, but
Yeah.
uh I had released this album in 2021 called Look at Me Now, and I feel like that was my breakout album because I had two albums before that and I really didn't find my voice yet. I feel like I didn't really unlock the potential that I had. So Look at
Yeah.
Me Now was a big album for me where I kind of got to showcase all the different sides of who I am as an artist. And it's also the first project that I put together where I recorded myself for the entire thing and mixed my own songs and
Nice.
mastered all my own songs. So it was a big project for me. And I felt like it was, at that time in 2021 when I released it, I felt like it was my top project, and it put me above my peers that are here in Louisville and the surrounding areas. And I was just on my high horse. I felt confident as shit, as you should. And I was like, Me Against the World, that album, when I made that, I was like, the concept is going to be space. I got to do something with space because I'm fucking obsessed with space.
Love it.
And so the concept of Me Against the World was, after the Look at Me Now album, I felt like I was on top of my peers. So I put myself hypothetically in space on this spaceship, and I'm alone on this spaceship, and there's an AI personality built into it that Berserk actually played the voice of. It's called Eli. It was R dash Eli because I relied on that AI for, I
Right.
guess, whatever, so this whole story with him. Um, and basically, Earth was sending me hate mail in the form of transmissions. I got a transmission on the opening part of the album, and it was basically a bunch of hate mail saying like, "You fucking suck, you're white, you're in your 30s, fuck you," all the stuff that I've legitimately heard from people.
Right, right,
uh,
right.
you know, you're a Logic wannabe. I can't wait for you to drop this so I can not hear it. Like, all these things that people have legitimately told me. And I just told Berserk to get on the microphone and just talk shit about me. We did like 4 takes, and I just bunched them up together and mixed them up. And
Love it.
so throughout the album, I'm like, fuck that. I got something to say. I'm gonna say some shit back to you guys now. So I just start snapping on the whole album, and the end of the album, there's another skit in there, and then the end of the album, I'm doing this song. It's called Mayday, and like I'm rapping really fast, and I'm like talking my shit, and then all of a sudden the ship starts to malfunction because of all the transmissions that have been sent in and out. I guess we made it so like the memory of the ship was causing a short within something else with the ship's mainframe, and it started to malfunction. So the ship started to go down, and I'm crash landing back down to Earth. So Eli, the AI, tells me like, prepare for a crash landing immediately. And I made it so his voice is sounding all wonky and like, scratched up and like whatever.
Love it.
And he was like, prepare for a crash landing. And I'm like, where am I crash landing to? And he's like, Earth. And I'm like, no. and so this album that I'm working on now, and that's going to be my debut album with the new record label that I signed with. Shout out to Southbound Records out of Nashville, Tennessee. Franklin, Tennessee. But shout out to Southbound Records, Rob and BJ. You guys are great. Brian Carell, all you guys are awesome. But this album is actually the sequel to Me Against the World. I'm calling this album Crash Landing. It's going to be released in the summer of 2026. So be on the lookout for that.
Very cool, man. All right, let's throw a little Falling from Grace up here.
But I don't really even know what I've been trying to prove. It feels like I've been falling from grace. Yeah. Can't seem to escape this fate. Try pleasing the masses just to be told that my music ain't even great. It's way below average, people so cold. And how many followers you get defining success. It's crazy to think how I do what I love for a living, but somehow I still don't feel blessed. Ain't get enough views on that clip that I posted a week ago. God damn, must mean that I suck. Meanwhile, the video trending right now is a girl on the gram say she down to get fucked. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm posting my content, crossing my fingers for luck, and hoping they playing my songs. But hundreds of streams will still only get you $1. So how in the hell do I win? Do I change who I am? Do I put out an album by selling drugs, fucking bitches, foreign cars, all the riches, gang, Glocks and switches? Maybe they'll love it and I can go viral, but is the fame worth it if I'm losing myself in the process, forcing my heart and my head in a downward spiral? I feel like I've been losing myself for far too long. Far too long. Far too long. I don't really even know what I've been trying to do. It seems like I've been floating away. You love me, then you love me not. These feelings gon' put me in the grave, but I don't really even know what I've been trying to prove. It feels like I've been falling from grace. I won't lose myself just.
Dude, you don't just rap. You actually, I mean, you sing, dog.
Yeah, I do all those layers separately
Yeah.
too.
That is awesome stuff, man. Absolutely love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that. I see why Willis likes that, man. That's
Yeah.
an awesome tune. I can't wait to. I'm gonna go down through and start adding this in to my YouTube selection here of when I drive a ton during the on season. I'm on the road constantly, so music is a major part of my travel and
For sure.
you know, cutting down my time. That's my office, right? That's my therapy on the road. So
Yeah. Same.
Well, listen, man, thank you so much for cutting out 2 hours of your time here and
Of course.
taking away from the family here on a Friday night. Look at us. We're old, dude. What are you doing on a Friday night? Oh, interview.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Well, my wife and our 16-year-old, they work at the same restaurant, so they're at work tonight. My
Nice.
wife actually just got off a little bit ago. She should be home in about 20-30 minutes. So,
Very cool.
my youngest is in there with Berserk and his girlfriend and his daughter, and he brings her over on the weekends, and those two play and hang out and have fun. So I had plenty of time tonight, and I figured it'd be a great time. So thank you for
Awesome.
having me, man. I appreciate the
Absolutely,
opportunity.
dude. That's yeah. I mean, this is part of the desire that we want to take this show to is start getting an opportunity to really get behind some stories and understand things. Folks, make sure go Facebook. It's at fromthebottom.theory, and theory is Th30ry. If you're listening to this and not seeing the video that we're putting up, that's where that's coming from. Instagram is theory, like we just told you, _official. And of course, YouTube is The Real Theory, and Theory is Th30ry. Give him a follow. Get the name out there, dog. Anything we can do from our side, we will definitely be bumping this up. So here's something else, and obviously you're going to be doing what you're doing. We have with the Romans Warrior Foundation something called the Stop 22 Tour. Pretty much until there are none. Stephen Cochran, Billboard Top 100 artist back in the late 90s, also is a retired Marine. He was one of the co-founders of this. Sal Gonzalez, who does our intro, we used his song for our intro here with The Shadow of Death.
Nice.
Also a United States Marine. I told you, dude, I'm surrounded by you guys.
Surrounded by him, yeah.
But
There
what,
are worse things to be surrounded by, right?
right, exactly. Oh, dude, trust me. I'll throw out like chair force or things, say things like that. And usually when I'm standing, right behind Marines, I'm like, "Hey, nice chair force emblem." I'll stand behind the Marines doing that, right?
Just in case they come and try to start shit.
In case there's like 12 of them,
Yeah. Oh, we'll fight. I don't care about the numbers. I'll fight. My wife knows that for sure. She's had to de-escalate quite a few situations.
Right. But what I was going to say to you, man, what I would love the opportunity as I work, Brian and I are going to be working on kind of redoing how the Stop 22 tour works. What we try to do is we try to get into some of these big events where we bring the wall, like 4th of July or 9/11, celebrations in communities.
Yeah.
We want to start tying in the Stop 22 tour with the Field Ops division, where we do multiple things though. So we have the memorial here. We also bring in some Stop 22 artists to the community that get a chance to play and do their music right there on scene. And a lot of it for, a lot of the artists, a lot of times it's just, it's acoustic guitars and it's real, because it's outlaw country or whatever it might be. That's a lot of our artists, carry that kind of vibe.
For sure.
But dude, I know when we go into some of these areas, I know we do some stuff around the St. Louis area, and your music, like I said, you're singing, you're not just rapping, dude. And so your music, I think, transcends. And
Thank you.
yeah, I would love to chat with you just about the future, about it. Depending on how we get things lined up, I'd love to see if we could bring you in on some of these Stop 22 deals, man, and join you in there.
Man. I would love to. It's all just gonna have to go through the label, obviously.
Yeah.
Because there is talks. I did get, for this album I'm working on, for Crash Landing. I'm not gonna say who it is yet, but I did get a fairly big feature from a really big artist that is on
That's awesome.
really big label, and
that's exciting, bro.
Yeah, there's also talks, because I've developed somewhat of a decent relationship with this artist now. There is talks with his tour manager. My label has been talking with his tour manager because he's talking about going on tour in 2026. And my label has been talking to their tour manager about me joining the tour with him, and he's all for it. He is all for it. So him and his wife, they're both amazing people, and this gentleman is extremely talented. I'm very, very excited, and he's on the most largest independent record label in hip hop history, which is just mind blowing that I even got one of the features from one of their artists. And part owner of the label is one of the idols of mine. So this is a full circle moment for me. And if I'm able to go on tour with him,
so cool.
I'm going to shit my pants. So literal shit everywhere. My wife's going to have to clean it up.
This is a great way to close out a show. Let me tell you.
I'm going to shit my pants now.
I can't wait for the AI clips to come out on this. Yeah, literal shit everywhere.
Shit everywhere. It's going to be, you ever seen Dumb and Dumber? When he goes into the bathroom and the toilet doesn't flush and he gets shit all over their walls and the door, and Bob Saget walks in, he's like, "There's shit everywhere." That's gonna be me if I get the green light on this tour. So
I'm sending you this AI clip. You can do with it as you want.
Yeah.
Because after every show, I usually try to generate some clips out of the thing and get shorts that we use in the promo. Yeah, so I'm gonna send you whatever it comes up with for this.
I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it. Dude, I am so carefree with a lot of this stuff, man. Like if you, over the time when you get to know me, like I'm an open book. I have no filter. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed to say what I feel. I'm not ashamed to say what I want. Obviously, I'm very respectful. I'm very courteous. I'm not going to insult people. I don't just go picking fights. I actually love standing up for people who don't want to stand up for themselves. But I mean, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of me anymore. I just don't care, man. So like, you could send me whatever. I'll turn it into a laugh, man. I love to do that.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be awesome stuff. Well, listen, dude, thank you so very much again. We appreciate you. Folks, when you're watching this, it may or may be after, Christmas time here, but this is before Christmas when we record it. So Merry Christmas, dude, to you and your beautiful family.
You as well.
Nothing but good health and prosperity, coming your way, dude.
Thank you.
We're rooting for you out here, and it's going to be fun to watch you go, dude. And
Yeah, man.
stay
Strap
true.
in.
Stay true to you, man. And then you can't, like we said, find your anchor, lean into it, and go get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
I
shit.
got the anchor. I'm leaned in pretty hard now. So
That's awesome.
This is going to be a huge, 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 huge growing experience for me. And I think that Southbound Records is the owners of the label are artists themselves also. One of the owners is actually, he was the first hip hop act signed to a record label in 1992 out of Nashville. And Nashville, Tennessee is like the music hub of the country.
Pretty much
So,
these days, yeah, for sure.
one of, if not the. So, he's got a lot of ties. He's very knowledgeable. He's a very talented musician. Both of the guys are. And, I love being on their team and part of their label. That's why I chose to sign the contract with them, because they're passionate about their craft just as much as I am. And they believe in me and what I'm doing. So this next 2026 is going to be huge. So keep on the lookout for a lot of big things coming in the very near future. I'll obviously keep everybody updated, and I see you on Tip of the Spear. If I see you, I'll obviously update you guys with all that stuff. But thank you again for having me on the show. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you to everybody tuning in and who is tuned in, who will watch this. I hope everybody has a great Christmas, and if you're listening after Christmas, I hope you all have had a great Christmas and have a happy and safe New Year. Make 2026 your bitch.
Love it, dude. Love it. Folks, make sure go give him a like, give him a subscribe, give a follow there. You see the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Go hit those bad boys out there. As always, make sure to smash a little subscribe on our channel as well, at True Patriot Outfitters, of course, and the Heroes Media, GRP, Heroes Media Group. That is a major deal. All right, folks, that's it. We're going to end this bad boy here. I think we might have broke the record. I think we got on the longest interview, which, quite frankly, one of the most fun interviews I've ever done. This is
Sweet.
This is an awesome deal here.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Folks, you know the routine. Tight lines, be safe, take care of each other, and God bless.
Yeah.